client walks through your door. They know they need insurance. That's why they're there at your office, but they may not know very much about insurance or what type of coverage they need or what it's going to cost or where is the best value. What are some of the questions that you ask them to figure out what's the best solution for their insurance needs?
It's a great question, especially in today's insurance world. I think everyone knows who the Gecko is and who Flow is. When you go online or call those companies, they don't know anything about you. In fact, it's mostly done via internet or a 1-800 number. That's why it's important to have an agent. And the reason why is when I have a client come in, what we like to do is evaluate what their need is. What's their risk for exposure? Anyone can go online and put what coverage they want, this and that, but really they may not even realize what their exposure is because they haven't had that communication or contact or counseling with an agent or someone who understands insurance. So when I have a client come in, we'll usually sit down and do a brief needs analysis, and some of the questions we ask are their income, that's the exposure. What are their assets? What do they need to protect? Do they own their home? Other things that we may look at are what's the potential earning too, future earnings. This could be someone who's wanting to be a specialized doctor. Right now, they don't have any money because they're in school, but the potential in the future is they will, so they need to protect that as well. And those are some things we look at, to what their needs are with insurance without overburdening them with the premium. We look at what will best fit their needs and protect them if their loss would occur.
Is that usually a face-to-face meeting that occurs?
When I started in the insurance business, it always was. But as time has gone through, a lot of people, they like using email and text or what have you, other forms of communication, which is fine because I can still ask the same questions. I like the one-on-one because I get to know the individual as a person, but sometimes it's not convenient for them. And so we just try to ask those questions, which, by the way, the other companies, the 1-800 companies or the internet companies, they're not asking those questions. They're just wanting to give you what you want at the best price. And so that's important to look at. Is you can always shop insurance and you can always find the lowest price if you constantly are shopping, because they change. Everyone knows that. But what's the most important thing is not price, is your protection and why you're buying the insurance. When I have people come into my office and they say, I want the minimum limits and that's all I want, I'm not looking for them as a client because we've talked about what the minimum limits are, $15,000, $30,000. I don't want to, as an agent, expose myself to maybe a errors and omissions claim myself or a professional liability claim because I didn't recommend or push them to get those higher limits to protect them.
So where you really provide value to a client is where you've got a client that has something on the line, that has something at stake, that requires some expert analysis and attention to their situation.
Yeah, especially those that have built up or accumulated assets. That's where they probably need someone to look over what they have to make sure those things are protected. Just like an accountant would do to help them maybe lower their tax liability. We're going to try to increase their liability protection, seeing what their exposures are.